You are listening to the Ebony Covering Black America Podcast Network.
This is Holly Cotton, and you are listening to Beyond the Fit. This show is to discuss health and wellness topics to make sure that you become the healthiest version of yourself inside and out. We try to cover various issues and concerns and questions that we face as we age. On today's episode, I want to talk about a topic that I had actually researched several years ago when I was questioning certain things that were happening to me, and I wanted to know if there was actually a medical connection to what I was feeling in regards to my mental clarity. And that's what the show is going to be about today. And I know, first of all, you're like, what is mental clarity? This already sounds something stupid I don't even care about. But if you think about what mental clarity is, you so often dismiss little things that happen on a daily basis. Like you might forget why you walked into a room. You sit down to start a project and you don't know where to start. Or you have a task that you need to do and you get distracted. Or you're trying to go to the gym and you don't have the motivation. Or you're trying to work on a project, you're working on your business, you're trying to be a parent. Even on vacation, you just feel fatigued or you just don't even know why you're doing something. You lose that motivation. And a lot of times not having the best mental clarity will cause you to go down this path of depression. You don't want to be around people anymore. Like it's just a bunch of issues that go with not having a clear mental space. And so often we just think that it's always something physical. Oh, I need to drink more water, or oh, my meals aren't great, or oh, I haven't been sleeping. And yes, all of those combined with not being in the most clear mental space do add up. But it's very important to identify certain key things that you can change, and warning signs and red flags, whatever you want to call them, symptoms, signs, whatever. There's so many things that our body is telling us that, hey, I'm not right, and I need you to stop, and I need you to fix this. I need you to focus on this. I need you to do something different because I'm not functioning the way that you need me to function because I'm not in the correct space right now to make those things happen for you. So first, let's talk about one definition. What is mental clarity? Mental clarity is actually defined as a state of mind where you are more focused, your perception is clear. Whenever you have mental clarity, you're able to recognize, you're able to understand, and you're able to organize your thoughts. And if you don't think that that plays a huge role in your health and well-being, this is very important for you to listen to because you will actually see, oh my goodness, there is a correlation. Oh, so I just thought I had short-term memory loss. Oh, I just thought I was getting old. And that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to forget why I'm coming in the room. And of course, what's one of the first signs of not having mental clarity? Your inability to focus and your inability to concentrate on something. If you are sitting down and you're trying to focus on a subject and you can't, your mind is all over the place, you feel like it is taking way too much effort for you to focus, you're not in a good mental space. Your mind is not clear. You have too many things going on. And it's very important to realize that not having that clear space is actually affecting your goals. It's affecting how you are functioning. It is affecting your success because if you can't even sit down and organize a basic goal, if you're just all over the place, you're not going to be successful at whatever it is that you're trying to do. And it doesn't just have to be some type of goal. It can be any kind of project that you're working on. A lot of times you start doodling, you start doing other things. It's your mind's way of detaching from the clutter in your brain in order for you to be productive. So sometimes your body has its own way of coping. Another sign of not being in the best mental space is whenever you are physically or mentally exhausted. If you get home at the end of the day, or if you find yourself as soon as you get to work, you're utterly just overwhelmed. You feel like you can't focus on things. You feel like as soon as you get to work, as soon as you get to the gym, as soon as you try, like whatever it is. I know sometimes even me, when I started questioning, why is this? Why is it that I get dressed and then I attempt to go do something productive and I can't? But it was because I was having a physical exhaustion. I was having a mental fatigue. And a lot of times that means that it's time for a behavior change. That means that you are not clear. Your mind is not clear. You're not able to perform those tasks at the highest standard that you should because of your mental space. Another way to see that you have low mental clarity is when you have a loss of interest and a lack of motivation. A lot of times, whenever you just don't have interest in things anymore that actually used to bring you joy, you used to be happy to do certain things, that's a symptom of low mental clarity. When your mind is strong, you're enthusiastic about learning. It comes naturally. You shouldn't have to push it. Your lack of motivation means that your mind is looking for some type of renewal. It's looking for some type of reprieve, of break, or whatever. And if you're saying, wow, I used to enjoy doing this, and I can tell you as a fitness professional, sometimes I do the same thing. I get so overwhelmed with a bunch of other topics, and I have to realize, okay, this is my mind's way of telling me, Holly, you are not in the best space right now. I need you to focus on getting us back to our Zen level, because right now I can't go to the gym with you and make you perform at a certain level that you want to, because I am way too distracted. You only got 4 hours of sleep last night. I am not about to go out here and be a beast for you. Like, your body is telling you, your mind is telling you. So make sure you're picking up on those signals, because it's time for you to make a change. And of course, the most common symptom of low mental clarity is going to be your memory problems. Whenever you were able to recall something and now you can't, whenever you're trying to recall memories and you can't, that's a sign of low mental performance. And whenever you start having that poor memory, that's whenever you're going to be like, man, I used to be able to recall these things. I used to do stuff. So like, you try to do a crossword puzzle, or you try to do something else that requires that, and you're not able to because you have a low mental clarity. And again, why is this so important? Why is this show important? Why is mental clarity important? Like, you're like, okay, this has nothing to do with me being fit. This has nothing to do with me doing anything. But what you need to understand is that mental clarity is a vital element of productivity and fulfillment in life. You need to be in a good mental space to be able to receive things, and also to be able to give things, to be productive. And a lot of times we don't see that correlation. Don't worry, I'll tell you how to get to a peak mental clarity state again, but I just want to reiterate why it's so important, because you need to do a self-analyzation right now, and you need to be like, okay, you know what? This is hitting home, because actually I have been feeling more fatigued, or actually I don't have the fulfillment that I had before, or I'm not motivated to do nothing. I'm like sitting on like a frog on a log right now, and I am not feeling it. I just feel blah about everything. I don't want to do anything. So all of those things are signals for why this is important. So one, being in a good mental space, it helps you make better decisions. When your mind is clear and focused, you're going to make better decisions that are more aligned with you and also people's best interests. A clouded mind means that you're going to have a clouded judgment. What that does is it causes you to react wrong. It causes you to overreact on certain things. It causes you to be oversensitive on certain topics. And what happens is you lash out, you might shut down. It just depends on whatever your personality is. But you want to make sure that you're able to make better decisions. Because guess what? If I don't feel like doing something and I'm not motivated to do it, you know what? I'm not going to do it. And I'm going to be like, screw that. I'm not doing that today. I don't feel like that. I don't do whatever. But is that going to help me achieve whatever the goal is that I want? Is that going to help me achieve a business goal? Is that going to help me achieve my fitness goal? If I don't have the motivation, if I don't feel like doing anything, if I don't feel like being around people, no, it's not. Mental clarity is very important to help us with making those decisions. Also, being in a good mental space always helps you with your stress level. It stops you from feeling stressed. It stops you from feeling overwhelmed. And of course, like we've talked about before on mental health topics, it is normal for us to have a level of stress. It is normal for us to have a level of feeling overwhelmed by certain things. I know, especially for all my moms out there, or dad, you're a parent, and especially if you're a single parent, oh my goodness, it is an overwhelmment on every single day. Learning how to deal with those is very, very important, because if I'm running low on energy, if I'm running low on concentration, how am I going to overcome stress? How am I going to deal with the anxiety that I feel? So poor mental health is definitely something that we all battle, but it's having a strong mind and being able to manage that stress. That's what we need to do. Having a strong mental clarity is very, very vital in order for us to not go down that path.
We are going to take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Beyond the Fit.
And also, high mental clarity, guess what that means? It makes it easier for us to organize tasks. It makes us easy to prioritize. If you've ever seen someone's desk, or you've seen their house, or you look at their kitchen counter and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm looking at all the clutter. And I know if you are living like that, like your mind has got to be chaotic. One way of having that mental space, that mental clarity that you need, is by staying organized, by tasking, by prioritizing. And the only way that you can do that is if you do have a good mental space, if you do have good mental clarity. So again, those are just some of the things why mental clarity is so important. And also, it helps you enjoy your life. When your mind is functioning like a well-oiled machine, when your mind is doing what it's supposed to do, it can help you with enjoying life. Because guess what? You're not scattered all over the place. You're not stressed. You're not depressed. You're not having all of these issues. You're able to take in things. You're able to be organized. If you ever get up in the morning and you have 30,000 things to do, your only choice is to just put the covers over your head, that is a key sign that it's time to look into what is going on mentally and how you need to start processing these things. Don't worry. Like I said, anytime I give a problem, I always come back with a solution. So let's talk about that. Like now we've hit home and now you're like, oh my gosh, you know what? That sounds like me. I can't think straight. I can't do that. I'm always having short-term memory loss. You know what? Okay, you got me. Now, what do I need to do about it? Because my life seems like it's a mess right now. Or even if it's not a mess right now, use some of these facts and use some of this information to help you, because guess what? We all have peaks and troughs. It's normal. We are all going through it on a daily basis. So retain some of this information. So when you start questioning, like, you know what? I remember when Holly did a show on Beyond the Fit that was talking about mental clarity, and I'm starting to feel like I am losing my motivation. I'm starting to feel like I just don't feel like doing anything. So now let's look at what are some actual causes for a lack of mental clarity. Because before we can improve it, we need to look at what are the triggers, what are things that are causing it, because you have to be able to change those behaviors and you have to be able to change those triggers in order to change your mental clarity. We've talked about this numerous times. If you listen to any of my other shows about mental health or depression or anything about that, we always talk about the lack of sleep. I know it seems like it's redundant, but there are so many researches into this. There's medical journals. Everything always comes back to having a good sleep cycle and how vital and fundamental that is with your health. you need 7 or more hours of sleep per night. And we've talked about this even whenever we did one of our very first shows about mental health. One of the things we talked about was 7 hours or more of sleep. 7 seems to be the key word. Believe me, I feel you. Some nights I'm working on 4, but guess what? The next day I'm feeling it. I'm feeling that fog. I'm feeling the sluggishness, and it may be my body is going because I might have an energy drink or a pre-workout or whatever, and my body is going the way I need it to. But when I'm sitting down, I am not focused at all. I'm not thinking about things that need to happen at all. So make sure that you are getting the proper rest, because that is very, very, very important. Another cause for lack of mental clarity is going to be, like I said earlier, that stress and anxiety. We have talked about stress so many times, and stressors are going to hit us. It is how we react to those stressors. We talked about the correlation between stress and abdominal fat, and how stress makes you fat, how stress affects your mental health. Stress equal bad. So as long as you are living in a stressful environment, you have to learn how to deal with those stressors, or else it's going to take over you. Chronic stress is what we're talking about. We're not talking about, oh, today I have a project at work and now I'm freaking out because I need to do the project at work. No, we're talking about chronic stress, meaning that it happens over and over and over, which boosts your cortisol level up, which then turns into abdominal fat, which weakens circulation, poor circulation, less oxygen to the brain. So all of those things come together. You're saying, wow, that comes from me being stressed? Yes, it does. Stress actually has a physical effect on your body. So it's very, very important that you're able to deal with it, because that can cause a lack of mental clarity, which then I'm not clear. I'm not able to focus. I'm not able to rationalize. So what does that mean? Now it's going to amplify my anxiety. It's going to amplify my stress. And it's just a cycle that will continue and continue and continue. And then what happens is that can lead me into mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, things like that. So it's very important to make sure that you are identifying that. Another thing, and this is a big thing, if you follow me on any of my social media, if you follow me on Instagram, especially because I post lots of stuff on my story and on my page about nutrition, poor nutrition. Poor nutrition is a key cause for a lack of mental clarity. If you ever follow any of the nutritionists or anyone that talks about like having an alkaline diet, things like that, that's all they talk about, is how processed foods actually have a mental effect, how they actually go in and change the receptors of your brain. It makes you feel a certain way. It makes you think a certain way. Obviously, poor nutrition, you're eating fast food every day. You're eating fried food every day. You're eating processed food every day. It's not good. Make sure you are consuming a quality diet. Make sure you are having all of the vitamins and nutrients that you need. Make sure you are looking at those things. They said that B12 has a lot of health benefits for the brain and immune system. And B12 is found in fish, eggs, dairy products, B12 supplements. Make sure you're getting your B complex every day. Also, your omega-3 fatty acids. You hear about that all the time. That's a big thing. DHA, especially like whenever you're pregnant, or if you ever see anything that has to do with prenatal stuff, they always talk about those omega-3 fatty acids, those DHAs, all of those things that have to do with the brain activity. So make sure you are consuming a good diet. Now, we talked about the causes. We talked about what mental clarity is. We talked about why it's important. So again, what really happens if your head is unclear? I can tell you one of the first things that happens is work performance. You'll always feel like everything is unclear. Whenever you're working, and again, this doesn't have to be just working for a company. This is working on anything. When I say work, I mean work on whatever it is that is your passion in life, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's working for someone, whether it's being a parent, whatever it is that is your work, that you are being consumed, that you have to be performing at a certain level of every day, that's going to be the first thing you'll notice. You're going to be like, man, I'm not sharp at all. I don't feel like doing this. I'm not focused. And I can tell you that a few weeks ago, I had to do a reevaluation as well, because this is how I identified that I was having low mental clarity, because I had been eating like crap after the holidays, and I would sit down to start doing show notes, or I would sit down and start trying to do new projects for my brand, and I just didn't feel like doing it at all. Like, I just couldn't sit there. I would start drifting off and focusing on other things. And I was like, get it together, Holly. What is wrong? What is wrong? I didn't want to go to the gym. I didn't feel like doing anything. And that's when I realized, I was like, okay, you know what? I need to identify what it is. And I knew it was because I had been eating bad and my diet was not where it should be. And I was like, you know what? I bet you it's my diet. And I changed my diet back to not eating processed stuff, eliminating most of the sugar from my diet. I do have a sweet tooth, so I struggle with that every day. I'll be honest and transparent as always. But that was one of the first things. I was like, man, this used to be so fun for me to sit down and research and look at things and do this and organize, and I'm not feeling it at all. That was one of the first things that I noticed. If you're noticing that, like, man, I'm not feeling it, I'm not doing it. Difficulty in performing well at work is one of the first key tasks that you identify as an alert or you are a red flag.
We are going to take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Beyond the Fit.
Also, what happens? You start feeling isolated and distant from loved ones. Unfortunately, this is a big one if you feel this, because your emotional well-being is very, very much connected to your mental clarity. And what people don't understand a lot of times is that whenever they have low mental clarity, they start wanting to be isolated, and then they start getting lonely because now you're isolated, and it's a whole cycle. And what happens is now you have fewer people around you, you have less energy around you, you're lonely. You don't have someone there that's there. You're not doing fun things because now you've isolated yourself. So very important, make sure if you start feeling that, like I could tell you, you're like, I don't feel like being bothered with nobody. And sometimes I do that too. Sometimes I do it so that I can focus, because that's part of how I process my high functioning mental clarity. But sometimes I just don't feel like being bothered with people because I'm so emotionally drained. If you're feeling like it's that and you're feeling like it's going on for longer than a few days or whatever, it's time to stop and say, why is this happening? Because this isn't normal. And then again, what happens whenever we start isolating? Now we start feeling lower self-esteem. We start having depression. We start having all of these low job performance. Now we had a project, it's not working out for us. So it just goes into the spiral because one, we didn't feel like fooling around with it. We didn't feel like being bothered. And now we have the consequences of not putting that work in, not being around people. So now it's leading to us being lonely and depressed and sad and feeling a certain way. It's just this whole thing, and it just keeps going. It's like the avalanche. You start with a little pebble, and then I just didn't feel like being bothered today, and this and that, and just rolls and rolls and rolls until now it's this huge ball. And now I'm sitting in my room eating a tub of ice cream, and I don't have any friends or family around me, and I'm feeling super depressed. Make sure that you're identifying that whenever you start doing that. Not being able to sleep at night. We said how important sleep is, but if you're seeing that you're having a hard time going to sleep, then it's probably because you are stressed about something. So you need to identify what that is, because you want to be able to make sure that one, you can sleep at night, because what? If you don't sleep, you don't have adequate rest. That leads to poor mental clarity. So again, same circle. So it's very important. Identify, why can't I sleep, so that I can sleep at night. Very important. So we talked about all of the problems. You're like, okay, yes. Again, tell me, how am I going to fix all of this? Because now we've identified the causes, we've identified why it's important, I've identified what brings it on, what happens if I have poor or low mental clarity. Tell me how I'm supposed to fix it, because I need to know how to fix it. Here are some tips of how to improve your mental clarity. And they're actually all really easy to incorporate into your daily life. So don't worry. It's not like you have to go seek a medical professional or anything like that. It's things that you can set down as a foundation so that you can have a clear mind, so that you can stay sharp, so you can stay active. And also, if you feel like you're around someone that's having these symptoms, this is a perfect chance to say, hey, I have some tips for you because I think your mental clarity is not high right now. And I think that you could be performing a lot better at things in your life if you got your mind situated, if you found your Zen place again. Let me give you some tips. So here you go. Here's your tips. 1, get enough sleep. Obviously, we talked about that and how important sleep is. So make sure that you have a healthy sleep schedule. You want to make sure that you're able to stay performing at your peak mental performance all day. Use the sleep tracker if you need to. Make sure you're getting enough sleep. Manage your stress. Like I just said before, we had other shows about stress management and how to deal with stress. So it's very important. Identify when those first triggers of stress come, you're like, oh no, let me knock this out right now before this goes down a path. It's very important to manage your stress and figuring out your personal methods of how you can relax, of how you can release the tension without punching somebody in the throat. We want to make sure that you're personalizing those ways for yourself to manage your own stress level. And also practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is whenever you are living in the present. You want to slow down. You want to be conscious of your body, your environment, your energy at that point. A lot of times we just go through these daily cycles. Okay, I got to get up. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. And we're never in the now. We're always just running like a robot. Mindfulness means, what am I doing right now? What's going on right now? What's making me feel this way right now? What can I do to make myself feel differently with what's going on? Because I don't like how I'm feeling right now. So stay in the moment. And of course, one of the key things that I always preach about is having a good work-life balance. Yes, we all work to death. It's very important, especially if you have a passion, you're just going and going and going and going. But it's very important to find time to have those relationships. Make sure you're fostering those relationships. Make sure you're finding things to focus and relax. I don't care if it's sitting around watching a Netflix series for 2 or 3 episodes or something like that, just to detach from everything and just focus on that. Do a puzzle, do whatever. There are so many things that you need to do to make sure that you have a good work-life balance so that you can continue to perform where you need to be and you're also being fulfilled some kind of way as well. Another thing I always preach about is self-care, because who's going to take care of themselves? Holly. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get me some self-care in it. And whatever you consider your self-care is what you need to make sure that you're doing. So whatever it is, whatever activity it is, whatever space you need to be in, whatever it is, I take a trip at least once a month. That's what I like to do. I don't care if it's for 2 days. I am a mom all the time. I have multiple jobs. I'm constantly working on new projects. I'm always doing something. I'm talking to people. I teach because I'm a professor. So I'm always I feel like I just talk. 2 days a month, I like to go somewhere and just sit down and not talk. And that is my self-care. That is what I do. Don't dismiss the small things like going to get your nails done or getting a haircut or going to the sauna. Going to the gym is the biggest form of self-care because a strong body leads to a strong mind. Don't ever dismiss that correlation because that's huge. But whatever it is, do something for you. Take time out of your schedule once a week at least to do something just because it brings you pleasure. Eat some cookies with your kids, watch a movie, go do something. I don't know, go jump in the bed with them, take your dog for a walk. There's so many things that you can do that aren't just going to the gym or going to the spa or going to get a manicure. There's tons of things that you can do for self-care. Just make sure you're doing it. Part of that self-care, like I said, is moving your body. Make sure you are moving your body every day. You want to make sure you're sweating out those toxins, you're stimulating your circulatory system, walking, swimming, even yoga, whatever it is that you need to get moving, move. Whatever your fitness level is, it doesn't matter. Just move. All of that helps with your circulation. I just said earlier that circulation helps with that oxygenated blood, which is the blood that's going to your brain with oxygen, fueling your brain so it can be the most high functioning brain possible. A lot of times I do my best thinking when I'm doing cardio because I literally am on there and I don't know why, but it just gets me so motivated and I hate it when I'm doing it, but I'm able to start processing things things and doing other things. Do not dismiss the importance of having a moving body. We talked about diet. Make sure you can eat your way into a sharper mind. We just talked about some of the key things that you can implement into your diet. Look up some of those brain foods. There's fatty fish, berries, dark leafy greens, pumpkin seeds. Like there's tons of things that you can do for mental clarity that come from diet. So make sure you're looking into that as well. Finally, don't dismiss asking for help. A lot of times we still feel like we need to do everything ourselves. We feel like, oh, okay, I have to figure out how to deal with this. Holly said this, or these shows said this, or mental health said this. I have all of these techniques to do, and I'm trying to implement these mental health topics into my life, and they are not working. I cannot get out of this rut. I cannot. You know what? It's okay. Go see a therapist. Go talk to someone. That's why there's tons of therapists. That's why there's tons of stuff about mental health now, because we are realizing how important mental health is and how some people need a little bit of extra help. Some people need a lot of extra help. Do not feel bad. That's part of your self-care. Do not question it. If you're feeling like I'm not getting what I need to get, I still feel this level of stress and anxiety, and I still feel like I'm going down this path of isolation and depression, go talk to someone. Do not be afraid to ask for help. Last note about having a good mental space and being at a high level of mental clarity. No matter where you are in life, no matter what you're doing in life, your mental clarity is going to foster that environment for you, whether it be work, life, family, your dog, whatever it is, project, you want to start a business, you want to write a book, you want to sing a song, whatever it is. Having good mental clarity is going to help foster all of those things that you need to do. It's going to help you be more focused. It's going to help you be more productive. Taking care of your brain health is a big part of having a happy and fulfilling lifestyle. Don't dismiss how important your mindset is and how implementing simple ways in order to change your mindset will actually affect your overall productivity. Don't dismiss how important it is. And if you've read my book, Day One, you know that I talk about mindset all the time. I try to talk about mindset in everything. Your mind can tell your body what to do. Your mind can help you achieve things that you didn't think were imaginable if you are in the right state of mind. Sometimes that means getting rid of toxic people. Sometimes that means getting rid of toxic environments. Sometimes that means stepping away from bad relationships, stepping away from bad situations, stepping away from friendships. Whatever you need to do to focus on you so that you are in the best mental state, so that your mental clarity is at the peak of where it needs to be. Do not feel bad. Do not question it. You deserve you. And I always say in every episode, you deserve to be a priority in your life. Everyone else becomes a priority. We fret over everyone else, jobs, kids, everyone needs something. We drop everything. But when it comes to us and focusing on ourselves, we always are like, I don't know. I don't need to do that. That's not that big of a deal. I'll deal with it. I don't need sleep tonight. I don't need that. No. This episode is a reminder and an identifier of how important that is to make sure that you are having good, healthy brain health, not just physical health. Beyond the fit, we go beyond just looking fit. Life check. If you've read my book, Day One, you know that I have these things called life checks in my chapters where we basically reiterate information that we have learned and that we've discussed so far and make sure that we're actually retaining that information and we're pulling out those pertinent facts so we can use those in our lives. Life check for today. Let's sum up. We talked about mental clarity. We talked about how to deal with it, causes of it, everything else. Why is it important? Remember, helps us make better decisions, helps us with avoiding feeling stressed and overwhelmed. It makes it easier for us to organize our tasks, for us to prioritize certain things. It helps us enjoy life, being being in a good mental space, having a clear mind will help you absorb those. It's going to help you enjoy life. Remember, finally, you deserve to be a priority in whatever it is that you're doing in life. Make sure that you put just as much effort into yourself as you do in other things. Make sure you give yourself the same energy that you give to everyone else. All those school projects, work projects, life projects, your friend projects, whatever it is that you do that you put a ton of effort in, you make sure that you are also making yourself a priority and putting that same investment back into yourself. And that's what I want to close with, because making ourselves a priority is an integral part of going beyond the fit.